Hi, welcome to Recap Stories. Today, I'm going to explain movie name called Forbidden Empire, released in 2014. It's a fantasy adventure movie. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The film begins with a story, in which it is stated the story takes place around 1800, during a traditional period. People don't know much about anything. There were no maps or country borders in this era. It was also mentioned that an evil goat existed, which was extremely dangerous. Nobody can look into its eyes. Whoever looks into its eyes will perish. At that time, the young girls blow a candle on a flower plate and pour water over it. They believe they will be married to the person who will find the plate. A girl named Nastusia finds the dead body of King's daughter. She becomes frightened and falls into the water because of it. She gets faint, then a sheep-like creature arrives. It brings Nastusia out of the water. This sheep-like creature has many horns. A burning tree is shown. Later, the king received his daughter's body. Here, it is discovered that King's daughter was still alive. She says to her father, "I have a last wish. That is, for 3 days, a priest will pray for her while her body is kept in the church. Only he knows what the sheep-like creature is made of. The priest will spend 3 nights there." The king's daughter dies after saying this. Then king takes his daughter's dead body to a church. He asks a priest, "You will stay in the church and will pray for my daughter. In return, I will give you 1,000 gold coins. If you will run from here, I will kill you." The priest starts his pray, he opens his book and the smoke arrives. As a result of all the candles blowing out, he becomes sacred. There was dark everywhere and the white flowers surround the cross. The priest makes a circle while considering himself safe inside the circle. But he wasn't saved because the ghost of King's daughter arrives there. Then a boy, the main character of the movie, is shown. His name was Jonathan. At that time, Jonathan was with a girl. Meanwhile, the girl's father arrives there. He sees his daughter and Jonathan together. He asks Jonathan to marry his daughter. On it, Jonathan says, "I will marry her, but not now." He escaped from there while sitting in a carriage. Here we discover that Jonathan knows the skill to make a map. He also wants to make a map. He will start his map from this town. He wanted to make the map of the world while discovering it. He conveyed some letters to his friends through pigeons. Then the king is shown. He gives 1,000 gold coins to another priest. He was an evil priest. King asks him to give those coins to the priest who is praying in the church. The priest asks, "Can I make a church from it?" It does not sit well with the king. That priest moves into the church for giving the coins to the other priest. He gets shocked after opening the door. He discovers the dead body of the other priest. He notices the circle and understands there are evil powers. Meanwhile, his coins also drop there. He says now this place will be locked, none will visit here. 2 greedy brothers are also shown there. They become greedy after seeing the coins and start collecting them. The priest says we have to shut the upper portion of the church completely. When those brothers were doing this, one of them falls down. The pieces of it would stab in his eyes. The townspeople and the king also arrive. The priest and the brothers move in front of them and tell them there are evil powers in this church. This church is cursed, but the brothers have stolen the coins from there. They don't want anyone to know about it. The king inquires of the priest as to its significance. At the same time, a swarm of crows forms a ring around the church. The priest forbids the king from entering the church while saying to think about people. The king defers to the priest. There was also the body of the king's daughter. They built a new church and pray there. So, the old church will be sealed completely. Many evil powers come there. They get frightened, but all the evil spirits were behind the priest. Due to it, they all start remembering God. The sheep-like creature was sitting in the other church. It was seeing all this. After it, a swarm of crow again arrive. After a year had passed, Jonathan also arrived there. He meets many people there who eat their food with him. 2 of them talk to him and tells him about the town. Furthermore, they claim we visited there last year. One of our friends was lost there. He was a priest. Forgetting their path, they take the wrong turn, come to a halt in an old lady's house. Our friend priest observes the strange things there. The old lady attacked us and flew priest with her. Then her reflection is shown in the water. We discover who was she. She was none other than King's daughter. Our friend vanished, and the villagers abandoned us. Jonathan doesn't believe in all this, so he starts laughing hearing this. He wasn't traditional, but he believes in science. When Jonathan moves out, his horses automatically move. Jonathan runs after them and hurriedly gets on the carriage. He notices the weird animals are chasing him. He makes his horses run speedily, but during this, his carriage catches fire. He shoots those animals, but even then they were chasing him. Many crosses were hanged there. Jonathan escapes and throws the last cross. The townspeople were scared and Jonathan falls there. The evil priest was also there and he tells while opening a book. He is also sent by the devil. Jonathan ignores this and decides to stay there until he repairs his map machine. The priest was fed up with the traditional conversation of the king. King's daughter was still in the church. He wishes to conduct her funeral and bid his daughter farewell in a dignified manner. King comes to know about Jonathan and calls him secretly. The king asks Jonathan to make the map of the town, in which he had to make the church in the center of the town. The king says, in return for this I will give you 1,000 gold coins. A companion of mine will help you out in this. King asks him to do it secretly. But the priest knows this and calls those brothers. He blackmails them, claiming, I know you stole coins from there. You must avert the church's opening at all costs. Those brothers go to Jonathan and tell him their story. One brother says, I have seen the king's daughter revived. She hits the priest who was waiting for her. There were many bushes behind her. She also has the church hidden in the bushes. According to the other brother, the priest also murders the king's daughter. The coffin containing the dead body of the king's daughter flies through the air. In the meantime, the priest strikes the coffin with an axe. The coffin starts bleeding because of it. After many tries, the priest kills the king's daughter. Later, he also dies. Jonathan doesn't believe in them. He was feeling they are saying all this because they are drunk. Meanwhile, Jonathan sees their changed faces. They change into a monster. There he notices the soul of the king's daughter. He becomes frightened and starts believing in all this. He makes a circle around him. A bucket of oil falls there and the place sets on fire. Then he sees himself in a devil's world. There were many evil spirits. He notices the evil goat there. It has many eyes and looks terrible. The evil goat assigns a task to Jonathan. To know about the sheep-like creature. If you will not do this, I will kill you. After it, when Jonathan awakes, he finds all fainted around him. He goes to the church for having a map. The door of the church was locked. He climbs up the tower. One of those brothers was seeing him. We see Jonathan's pipe was left outside. Then it is shown the other brother was pressing some coins in the land. Jonathan's bag was disappeared. He thinks maybe his bag fell in the church. He starts seeing it. A cross was hanging in the church. It was irritating Jonathan. To get rid of it, he moves away. Then Jonathan falls down. The king's companion was also with him. Seeing it, he saves Jonathan wisely. Jonathan tries to move inside the church. The king's companion doesn't let him go. After some time, the other brother comes there to collect the coins. There weren't coins, but there was Jonathan's pipe. He suspects his brother. The evil priest kidnaps the king's companion with the help of a brother. They torture him and asks him the truth. The king's companion becomes afraid. He tells them everything. After it, they release king's friend. Here the king's companion discovers that they want to kill him and Jonathan. He immediately comes to Jonathan. He says to Jonathan, we have to run from here. After it, the king's companion goes to his friend. His friend was none other than Nastusia. King's companion asks Nastusia to go with him. Nastusia was exactly the same as she had been for the previous year. She agrees to accompany the king's companion. The evil priest makes the townspeople against the king. Nastusia vanished while the king's companion was preparing to flee. When he notices Nastusia moving near the jail, he follows her. On the way, he finds the sheep-like creature. He doesn't move forward and returns. The brothers were fighting because of the gold coins. Nastusia arrives and was seeing all this. Meanwhile, the townspeople also come there. Seeing the townspeople, he gives the knife to Nastusia. He acts like Nastusia has killed his brother. Now she is trying to kill him. The townspeople believe in him, so they hold Nastusia. Because they were feeling Nastusia has evil spirits. Jonathan and the king's companion were running. They fall into the lake, but then someone pulls Jonathan with that bag. The bag which was lost in the church. Now that Jonathan has his bag, he discovers the skin of a sheep-like creature. Then he goes to the king and says, "I know you haven't assigned me the task of making a map. You want me to search for the killer of your daughter, and also discover what happened with them." The king says, "Yes, this is true." He also asks Jonathan to please do this. "You can do this because you have a lot of knowledge." Jonathan comes to accept it. The townspeople were giving Nastusia a punishment. They decide to kill her. Meanwhile, the king arrives and forbids them to do this. The townspeople didn't agree because they had a firm belief in the priest. They make the king faint while hitting something at his head. They bring Jonathan to a place while kidnapping him. Nastusia was also there. Jonathan discovers that Nastusia is familiar with the sheep-like creature. She feeds it every day and came to the lake as a result of it. Jonathan also finds his map there. He had made it with a lot of hard work. After it, Jonathan hears the priest's plan. It was to kill the king, because the brother who was alive wants to become the king. That's why he helps the priest. Then they take Nastusia from imprisonment. A man there saves Jonathan and makes him sit on a horse. Moving forward, he sees the king's companion. He was with him. King's companion sets the priest's house on fire. Then the priest and the townspeople are shown. They tied Nastusia with a boat. According to the priest, if Nastusia drowns in the lake, she is an evil spirit. She is safe as long as she will not drown. The priest makes the boat heavy while putting many stones in it. With it, he also makes a hole in the boat, so the boat will be drowned due to the water. The cross was about to fall on their companion, but Jonathan saves him. He tells him the sheep-like creature is a human. Now we have to save Nastusia at any cost. Nastusia's boat was sent into the boat. Suddenly, they notice the sheep-like creature on the tree. Seeing it, the townspeople run towards it and the priest tries to stop them. But he couldn't stop them. Jonathan goes inside the church while breaking the door. He gets shocked while seeing that the dead body of the king's daughter remains in the same condition. Her body was adorned with fresh flowers. A man arrives and tries to steal Jonathan's map. Jonathan fears him with a bullet and stops him. We discover that man is none other than the priest. The priest was praying for king's daughter. He tells Jonathan, "When the flowers were kept in the plates, I chose the plate of the king's daughter. Then a sheep-like creature attacked me. During this, Nastusia also falls in the water. Then while wearing the sheep-like creature's skin, I saved Nastusia. That's why Nastusia fed me every day. I tried to escape many times. I was afraid of being caught. The townspeople will kill me. I stole those brothers' coins and caused them to quarrel with each other." He claims, "I spent 3 days in the church before being attacked." Jonathan asks him who had attacked him. He points behind Jonathan. There was none other than the evil priest. He attacks Jonathan and faints him. He was the priest who attacked the other priest. The king's companion is shown, who wore the sheep-like creature's skin and let the townspeople chase him. The greedy brother discovers this. When he was about to kill the king's companion, the townspeople stops him. They save the king's companion because they realize everything has been a lie. It means that there is no such thing as a sheep. The evil priest imprisons the other priest in the coffin alongside the king's daughter. Here he reveals that he has started all this because he likes the king's daughter. "I have attacked the king's daughter while wearing the sheep's skin." Jonathan awakes and he finds the evil priest near him. The priest says to Jonathan, "I have brought the knowledge from Europe that I wanted to keep it with myself. That's why I have done all this while using the new inventions." The projector allows the people to see the spirits in the church. Following that, King's companion goes to help his friend Nastusia. But, since Nastusia has been drowned, the priest requests that Jonathan perform all prayers because he is about to die. Jonathan begins to read the book and recalls his childhood. The townspeople come outside the church. Hearing their voices, the priest was about to kill Jonathan. Meanwhile, a cross falls onto that priest. Due to it, he dies. People flock to the site, proclaiming it to be a miracle. Nastusia's boat flips over on the other side, and she escapes. The avaricious brother attempts to flee. His horse kicked him and he falls down. Later, King's companion and Nastusia get married. Jonathan introduces the new techniques to all, so none will be fooled next time. The king then bids farewell to his daughter while attending her funeral. Jonathan was in his carriage, and reminds when he saw the evil goat he was drunk then. These all were his hallucinations. Jonathan makes his way forward. This is where the film comes to an end. Thanks for watching. Kindly say some suggestion about this movie explanation in comments box. Subscribe and support our Recap Stories channel. See you in next video. Bye.